Good morning, everyone. This is your girl, Jasmine D. Felder, and this is the Brand of Jasmine D podcast, where we discuss the modern day woman, her lifestyle, career, parenting, dating, relationships, alignment with God, and more. I wanted to come on this morning. We are on the lucky number 13, 13th episode, and that is super fabulous for me because there was a time where this was literally just a dream. There was a time that this was just something in my mind. Um, and for it to be in full manifestation, full fruition, it definitely means a lot to me. And I always want to thank you all for your support and listening to the episodes, especially my people who are listening to every episode, whether that's just listening, commenting, subscribing, sharing. I appreciate it all. So I definitely just wanted to come on and first off, thank you all for that. I can definitely say this has been a very busy week for me. A very busy week. You know, we talk about wearing a lot of hats, and I can definitely say I wear a lot of hats. Of course, mom, educator, daughter, podcast creator, content creator, um, just just a lot, you know, working and then coming home and finding time to work. That's my biggest thing right now is balance, being able to balance, of course, my quote unquote 9 to 5, my career. And as an educator, if you know an educator or you're an educator, definitely please give them a pat on the back, a thumbs up, because the biggest thing with us is when we leave our jobs in the physical platform, we still have a lot to do, whether that's lesson plans, creating lessons, grading work. Um, there's a lot of mental stress sometimes that comes with that because there's just so much that we're doing. We're really, and especially those of us who love the craft, we're really trying to make a difference. One child at a time, 5 children at a time, the entire class at a time. We're trying to make a difference. We're trying to be that person who makes a difference in that child's life because we do know all of our students, they come from different backgrounds, economically, social backgrounds. Just there's a lot of differences. They face a lot physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just like us as adults. And when it comes to literally trying to, you know, help the children of the future, we we do a lot. So definitely I can say I wear a lot of hats. And this week or this past week, I feel that as a mother, I kind of had different trying moments because I had to take off my educator hat and turn on my parent hat. And sometimes they can contradict, and they can definitely have different conflicts within each other because as an educator, I know what we face, but I also know as a parent how it feels on that side and, you know, wanting the best for your child. So this has been a week, and it led me to thinking. My mom was asking me the other day about a recipe because she was wanting to make something, and she was asking about the ingredients that were needed. And then I kind of told her the preparation time, what do you do, and then of course how long it needs to cook. And of course, in that moment, it kind of led me to thinking about prep time or preparation time. You know, when you are cooking or baking something, you get your ingredients together. And that pretty much takes 2 to 3 minutes. You get your ingredients together, especially if they're already in the house. What takes the longest time is that preparation time before heading into cooking. You know, maybe you have to wash this, you have to season it, maybe you have to let it sit, and maybe you have to let it marinate. And you're anxious and you're waiting to get it together so that you can cook it or bake it. And the preparation stage to me is the longest stage. And so it makes me think about when we talk about purpose. And you know, I'm all about purpose and manifestation because that's the biggest thing for me. I tell you all the time, and especially for my people and my listeners who listen to every episode, you know, I always say the past year and a half, I'll say probably 2020 maybe 2021. That is where I feel like I was challenged the most. I mean, we all go through different things in life, but this was a consistent season of loss and isolation, and a consistent season where it seems like everything I knew was being pulled and stripped, and so I call that your preparation season. God is using or allowing different things to happen to pull out the best version of you. Because when you cook something and you eat it, you're gonna enjoy it. But that preparation time is when maybe the chicken is uncooked, it's raw, it's not seasoned. The, all of those things that you're cooking at that moment is not in its best form. Regardless of what you're cooking, and I'm using this, but stay with me. I'm using it in the metaphor of food, but I'm translating it to everyday life. So in your preparation, when you're cooking your food or you're preparing to cook your food, it's the preparation season. It's not done. It's uncooked. It's probably not seasoned. And even if it is seasoned, it's still not ready to be eaten. It's in a form that's unready. It's probably in a form that you can't even see what it would turn into. It's not anything tasting. It's not prepared. It's not in its best form. And so when I think about preparation time in the sense of physicality with us, I think about how we're in that season where God is allowing all of those ingredients to come together. So now all of those different things that you've encountered, you have this skill. God is building up this skill. All of the different ingredients that they are there. Just like, you bake a cake. You have your eggs, you have your flour, you have your vanilla extract, you have all of these different things, maybe Sprite, depending on what cake you have, maybe a little lemon juice, depending on what cake you have. But all of these things individually may not taste good. All of these things individually, you don't necessarily like to eat individually. But when you put them together, and it goes into the process of being cooked or baked, and it comes out, it's the best version of itself. And so the preparation time is something that we often fight against. We fight against needing help and assistance. We fight against being demoted. We fight against losing the job. We fight against, the breakups. But all of those things work together for our good. In the preparation time, in the preparation season, it does not feel good. It does not feel good to be isolated. It does not feel good to be left out. It does not feel good to feel like you're the only one without. It does not feel good when you don't have enough. But all of those things are working together. All of those things are teaching you how to stand on your own. All of those things are teaching you your true gifts and calling and talents. All of those things are helping to prepare you to move to that next level. People always talk and they say, I wish I was rich, and I wish, I was wealthy, and I think we all strive to get to that level. But I want you to think about a person who from birth, or a person from early toddler child stages, who had it all. They had any and everything they could want. They went to the best schools, they had the best clothes, the best shoes, anything that popped in their mind, they had. Now I want you to think about them in those early stages of their life, and now I want you to think about them in adulthood. What is the difference between them and you? Because in my opinion, when everything comes to you so easily, in my opinion, when everything is presented to you without you having to work for it, you never truly learn the true definition of work ethic. When you're used to everything coming to you just so easily and so naturally, you don't fight for it. You don't grind for it. You don't hustle for it. You're so used to everything coming to you, that it doesn't matter who you betray. It doesn't matter who you step on. It doesn't matter, who is affected negatively. All you know is, this is what I want, and I want it now. But then think about the people who, and I'm not saying you have to struggle in life, because my upbringing was very well. My mom was a single mom. Her and my grandmother worked extremely hard. My mom worked two jobs at times, a part-time job here. My grandmother, God bless her soul, she worked up until her late 70s, early 80s. So I'm not gonna, I don't feel like I had a silver spoon in my mouth, but my point is, there was nothing that I went without. Now there maybe was some needs, some desires and wants that I probably didn't always get with the snap of my finger, but there was nothing that I needed that I did not have. And let me be very clear, there were a lot of wants and desires that I did have. So I'm definitely thankful to my mom and my grandmother for that, because I saw how hard they worked. I saw how they sometimes went without to make sure that I had. But my point with saying all of this is, when everything is sometimes given to you so easily, you don't know how to fight for things. You don't know how to work for things. You don't know how to stay up late. Sometimes you have to be willing. I'm telling you, single mom, in school, work, businesses, all of that. But sometimes I have to tell myself, Jasmine, you are going to have to stay up. You're going to have to sacrifice going out. You're going to have to sacrifice that nap. You're going to have to sacrifice to get where you want, because we talk about residual income. I talked about residual income on my past episode. You have to do the work now to get the rewards next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. You can't expect money to naturally find you if you have not done the work. It's people now who are able to sit back because of all of the hard work that they've done. Whether you're content creating, whether you're selling houses, whether you're writing books, royalties and residual income will only come to you on a consistent basis based off of the past work that you've done. So when I make the comparison, I'm making the comparison to pretty much say, everything that we go through has a purpose. Every season that we go through has a purpose. The bad times, or what seems like the bad times, it has a purpose. It builds your character. It helps you form into being the best version of yourself. And my tagline is owning who you are. I remember I had someone tell me a few years ago, and it was so funny. They were like, where did you go to in high school? Oh, and like that's ghetto. And it was so funny to me, because I was offended when they pretty much indicated that the area that I had grew up in, and I don't even think it was, or even my high school was ghetto at the time. But it's funny, because now I think back on that and I'm like, listen, I don't care what you call me. You can call me ghetto. You can call me ratchet. You can call me whatever it is. I'm owning who I am. And that takes a certain level of confidence to get there. You have to be confident enough for people they can call you whatever they want to call you. Call me what you want to call me. You can talk about the way I talk, the way I walk. Hey, it is what it is. But let me tell you something. When I go to that bank and I cash that check, guess whose name it says? So, my whole point in this episode was for us to realize that there's a time for preparation. And if you're like me and you're in a preparation season, it's okay. Right now, some things are still uncooked. Some things are still undone. Some things are getting ready to go to that next level, to be cooked and to advance. It's almost that time to switch seasons and go to another level. But you have to stay faithful in the season that you're in. I have a very good friend, and I always try to keep things anonymous. So my friends know who they are. When they listen to this, they know exactly who and what I'm talking about. But I always try to keep things anonymous for their, confidentiality. But I have a friend who was looking for another job, and the job that she got hired for, it ended up being where she was going to have some horrible hours. Like, it was going to affect her ability to do a lot of things, especially as a single parent. And I remember we were talking, and she was like, Jazz, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I know sometimes, we say something is better than nothing. And technically that's true. But until you have been in a situation like us to where your income may be lower than your bills, it's kind of hard to see that something is better than nothing. I'll give you the example. I went through a period where I was unemployed and I got hired. No, I think at that point in time, I was offered a position and it was way less than what I wanted. But when you're a parent, you have to put your needs to the back end and you have to put your child's need to, or your children's need to the front end. And so, I never try to really speak on situations that I haven't gone through. So I was telling her, I was like, listen, I've experienced that. And you have to ask yourself, is sitting here not working better than making something? We can always find other ways to offset the deficits, but we have to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And I know she had started fasting. She had partaked in a fast, and hey, I'm truly a believer that if you show God that you can be faithful of a few things, He'll make you a ruler of many things, and that stands firm to this day. And it was so funny because she started working the job and she wasn't as excited, but she stayed faithful to it. And she started her fast, and that same week she was offered another job with better hours with a different company. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I want to do the disclaimer. God is in charge of your process. I can't tell you go fast or accept something and it's going to work out like it did for her, because sometimes even when you fast, it may not happen during that time. It may happen after. But I'm just giving that example to say that our preparation season is different. You have to know your preparation season. You have to stay faithful in that preparation season. Don't compare your life, your story, your struggles, your ups, your downs to the next person, because you don't know what they are or what they are not doing. But what I can tell you is that you stay faithful to your process. You stay in communication with God. You make sure that you're doing what you need to do. And I'm not talking about for public appearances, because that's a reason why so many other people are not getting to the levels that they need to go. Because a lot of us, and I always say us, and I'm just speaking, but a lot of times people are so focused on the picture and the video, and as long as what I put out looks decent, then that's all that matters. And it's not, because God knows our heart. So if you're doing something for, a photo moment, you're doing something for just, presentation, then you're not really growing. In order for us to get to the next level, in order for us to advance, we have to make sure we're doing the work in the preparation season. If I had never fallen, if I had never been without, if I had never known what it was like to be unemployed, what it felt like to be denied, if I had never known what it felt like to have to dodge bill collectors or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't be able to get on this podcast and speak to different people. It's easy to tell someone to stay encouraged when you've never been discouraged. It's easy to tell someone that God is going to make a way when you've always had a way. It's easy to tell people to hold on when you've never had to let go. So in order for me to get on here, I had to go through some things. That's why there was a season and time in my life where I was isolated. I was unemployed. There was a season in my life where I really didn't know how things were going to get done. And now I'm slowly but surely crawling myself out of those situations. But my point is, I can get on here and encourage you because I've been in that same situation. I can get on here and encourage you because I've had to be faithful over a few. So I wanted to come on here today to just tell you, your prep season, your preparation season, your prep time, it's okay. Stay faithful. Do the work. Stay up late sometimes, get up early sometimes. And in that, because I know with me, I'm trying to work on my patience, because I know a lot of times when I see that red button, I see that something is due, I see that a deadline is coming, it's almost like I'm stressing and I'm like, what do I do? But you got to take a moment. In those moments, pray about it. And you have to take a moment to just say, you know what? It's going to get done. It's going to get done. Give your best. Don't complete all of these tasks at 25%, at 50%, at 75%. Because even if you finish early and you didn't give your best, it's no good. So I'm not saying be late on things or anything like that, but what I am saying is just take your time. Everything is going to come how it should come. I was freaking out about how am I going to get this episode done? What time do I have? But God made the perfect time, and He made the perfect way for me to get it done when it needed to get done. And I'm so glad, and I'm pushing through this. We're pushing through this. We're pushing through the ups and the downs. In your preparation season, do the work. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because you don't know what they're going through. When we shut our doors, when we turn off that camera, when we stop taking pictures, and we're behind the closed doors, you don't know what people are going through. So we got to be mindful. Even when people come off nasty to us, we got to just tell ourselves we don't know what that person is going through, and just pray for them. That's all we can do. So stay faithful, do the work, take the time, take your time. I know we're so ready to get to the glitz and the glam, and I know we're so ready to start that cooking process. We're so ready to start that next level process. We're so ready to get to that end result. But if you're in the preparation season, there's still work to be done. Something internally needs to be done in you. Maybe your mindset, your mentality needs to change. There's something inside of you that needs a little bit more mending. So keep working, keep reading, keep researching, do the work, be willing, accountable, and always apply pressure. And I'm going to keep saying that is your WAP. I'm going to keep saying that. That was episode, I believe, 10. Or maybe, yeah, it was 10. I don't know. Now, I have a lot of episodes, or a few episodes under my belt now, so I may not remember the exact number. But I always be willing. Always hold yourself accountable. And definitely just keep applying pressure. Even when it looks like no one is looking, they're looking. I'm telling you, the ratio to the likes versus the views will always be different. Keep applying pressure and stay consistent in what you're doing. People love consistency. When you can show consistency and you can show that you're really standing 10 toes down in your purpose, and this isn't just for a season, this isn't just for show, this isn't just because the next person is doing, but when you're showing consistency and you're showing faithfulness and you're showing this is what I want to do because I was called to do it, God will align the masses to come to you. You'll wake up one day and you had 1 like. The next day you'll wake up and it's 100. You might wake up and have 5,000 subscribers one day. So stay faithful. Know that the sky is not the limit. It goes beyond the sky. Keep doing the work. Thank you all so much for supporting the Brand of Jasmine D and the Brand of Jasmine D podcast. There is so much that I'm about to send you guys away. There's so much communication that I want to have with you all, building the community, just letting you all know that even as we grow together, it's about the support, and it's about building the village. So thank you all so much again for your support, your consistency, your faithfulness. Continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share. But this is your girl, Jasmine D. Felder, and this is the Brand of Jasmine D podcast, and I am signing out.